He once sat at the top of the corporate world. A self-made billionaire, a telecom king, a Wall Street darling. But in the end, Bernie Ebbers was no titan. Just a man trapped beneath the weight of his own deception. This final chapter reveals the untold story of what happened after the courtroom silence, after the headlines faded, and after the empire crumbled. From prison walls to pleas for mercy, from national debate to one last breath. Was justice served? Was compassion earned? Or did Bernie Ebbers escape the full cost of the billion-dollar lie he built? This is not just the end of a man, it's the aftershock of a fraud that changed corporate America forever. A sobering reminder that behind every financial scandal are real lives, lasting scars, and questions that never quite go away. He built an empire on promises, pushed numbers beyond reality, and led thousands into one of the darkest collapses in corporate America. But as the years passed and the headlines faded, so did Bernie Ebbers. The once commanding CEO, whose voice echoed through boardrooms and Wall Street halls, now sat behind cold prison walls, his health deteriorating and his power gone. Bernie was serving a 25-year sentence in a federal correctional facility in Louisiana. For a man who once traveled by private jet and commanded billions with a phone call, prison life was a different world. Humbling, silent, forgotten. He suffered from multiple ailments, heart failure, macular degeneration, and muscle atrophy. Over time, he lost weight, his memory declined, and his body shrank into something far from the towering figure of his WorldCom days. But even behind bars, the world hadn't forgotten him entirely. His family launched an effort to get him out, petitioning the court for compassionate release. Their argument: Bernie was dying. He posed no threat to society. And after serving nearly 13 years, hadn't he paid enough? This sparked a national debate. Some saw a frail old man deserving mercy. Others saw a symbol of unchecked greed, of lives ruined, of trust betrayed. Could compassion outweigh consequence? Could time soften a crime that cost people everything? In December 2019, the court granted the motion. Bernie Ebbers was released. But it wasn't a victory. It was a countdown. He was moved to a care facility, barely responsive, surrounded by family, far from the boardrooms he once ruled. His release wasn't a return, it was a final chapter. And just a month later, on February 2, 2020, Bernie Ebbers died at the age of 78. There were no statues, no street named in his honor, no grand funeral with business titans in attendance. Only quiet and questions. How should history remember Bernie Ebbers? Was he a self-made visionary who got swept up in a game of quarterly expectations and stock price madness? Or was he the architect of a fraud that knowingly sacrificed others for personal glory? The answers, like most truths in stories of ambition and greed, lie somewhere in between. Yes, Bernie came from humble beginnings. Yes, he built something extraordinary. But when the walls started shaking, when the numbers didn't match the dreams, he chose illusion over honesty. He could have stopped. He didn't. And thousands paid for that choice. WorldCom's collapse reshaped the landscape of corporate governance forever. It birthed regulations, restructured accounting oversight, and reminded the world that transparency isn't optional, it's survival. Yet despite all that, the shadow of Bernie Ebbers still lingers, not just as a cautionary tale, but as a question. How many other Bernies are still out there, hiding behind spreadsheets, smiling on magazine covers, gaming the system while no one's watching? Because as long as stock prices are worshipped and accountability is delayed, the next mirage might already be forming. And when it does, we'll all be asking the same question again. How did no one see it coming? From small-town beginnings to the heights of Wall Street, Bernie Ebbers rose on faith, ambition, and a vision that dazzled millions. But behind the numbers was a mirage, crafted with charm, sustained by silence, and shattered by truth. The collapse of WorldCom wasn't just a business failure, it was a human tragedy. Employees blindsided. Retirements vanished. Trust obliterated. The courtroom exposed the illusion. The prison walls echoed his downfall. And in the end, the man who once moved markets with a sentence faded into obscurity with barely a whisper. But this story is bigger than Bernie. It's a warning about the cost of unchecked greed, the blindness of investors, and the danger of worshipping growth at all costs. Laws were rewritten. Oversight was reborn. But as long as greed wears new suits and ambition knows no bounds, another collapse is always waiting. So ask yourself, are we safer now? Or are we just better at hiding the next storm? If this story struck a chord, don't let it end here. Like the video to support deep, investigative storytelling. Comment below with your thoughts. What part of this story hit hardest? Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the truth behind the next financial deception. And most importantly, share this video. Share it with a friend, a colleague, anyone who still believes numbers don't lie. Because the truth, sometimes they do. The mirage has faded, but its echo still lingers.